Feeling good. Good to see you again. Obviously it was a weird weekend. The last time you guys played and off this past weekend, I guess what's practice been like kind of leading up to this FAU series on a 4-game win streak, but you guys haven't played in a couple weeks.
Well, I think back here, BC. Last week was Old Dominion weekend. That's right, correct? So we probably find out Monday they're not playing. It was early in the week with them. So we did use the week. We practiced probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Gave them off Saturday and Sunday. So it was an abbreviated week here. We didn't play. So, it was opportunity to let them recover some physically and mentally some. It's a little unusual in basketball when you don't play a weekend, you don't play to the following weekend. It's like you used to playing the following week, Tuesday or Wednesday, but goes back to Friday and Saturday again. So that's a little bit different, but all's good. Like I say, I think we've got our practice what we need to have. Same time, trying to keep us fresh physically and mentally, trying to keep at the edge the best we can.
Coach Jared with the Daily News again. I know Kenny Cooper is a guy that we've been talking about throughout the year, and especially lately, it seems, he's taken on that new role, and he's probably coming off of his best game of the season for you guys. I guess since he's been coming off the bench in this new role, I guess, what have you seen that's led to the success that he had? And what's it going to take to try to keep that going, especially for these 2 games in 2 days?
Yeah, well, I do think he's since having to sit out those couple games and changing his role coming off the bench, I do think he's been more relaxed. I think he's played more relaxed, and he had some success in both of those games against Marshall. He was big for us both of those games. Then he went on to Middle Tennessee, was huge. Played well at Middle Tennessee. So, hopefully he's settled in that role a little bit. We need him. We need him to be the best he can be coming down the stretch here. And, I think he's playing that way. That's what you want and expect from your oldest, most experienced guys, and he's one of those guys.
Hey, Coach. This is Caden with the Herald. The last time you all had, I guess, this significant of a break in between games was around Christmas time in the beginning of conference play. So this time, with this break, do you expect things to be different than how you all went out against Charlotte?
Well, there's several things different than that break. Number one, remember, Bassey didn't practice for 2 straight weeks. That was number one. Number two, we sent our kids home for 5 straight days around Christmas time and the testing deal after Christmas. So that's never good when you do that. You take those 2 things, put them together. Bassey literally didn't step on a court for until we practiced the night before at Charlotte. Yeah, the night before, and he was very limited then. So the way he played is kind of what you expect. I think when we saw him play, that wasn't the same guy we saw play, I guess, against Alabama the last game he played. That wasn't the same guy. But there's reasons for that. And again, like I say, we had that long break. This hadn't been that kind of break that we just, we give our guys off a couple of days, but we've still been able to practice. That's the big thing.
Coach, I guess FAU last week didn't play either, had that Marshall series postponed. I guess looking at them on paper, they score about 80 points a game, 3 in double figures, kind of up and down season. Just kind of what do you see out of them?
Well, like you say, I think they have some perimeter guys can really shoot the basketball. There's 3 or 4 guys in that perimeter that can shoot it. And, they're led by guys like he's been there forever too, is Ingram. Forrest can really shoot it. And Ingram shoots it, and point guard shoots it. And so there's 3 guys in that perimeter, that can really, really shoot the basketball. The big guy on the inside is a good, steady player for them. I think they got good balance. They playing 7 guys really, starter minutes. play 8 guys. The other big guy gets 7 or 8 minutes. But they're a pretty balanced team, a team that can score along that baseline some with the big guy. And Ingram's a 4 who plays 3, which they're going to spread that court. And I say plays 4, but plays like a 3, but he's a 4. And like I said, they got multiple guys can go make shots.
Coach, this is Gary Graves from AP. I guess when you have these kind of postponements and disruptions to your schedule, how do you kind of keep your guys focused where they're geared up for a game, then it's called off, and then you've got to kind of reboot all over again?
Well, hey, Gary, that's a good question. You're probably dealing with that. You covered Louisville deal probably some?
Yeah.
So you probably, I saw they went on whatever happened again this morning. So they've been in and out of it several times, haven't they?
That was a surprise too.
Yeah, for sure you have to practice different. Now, we can't come out last Tuesday knowing we're not going to play until 12, 13 days next Friday and practice the same way. That's just where it is. Mentally, guys, I think it's trying to get in the field and to push you guys some, but going out and grinding defensively 2 weeks ago, it's probably not going to be the right frame of mind every day. So, I think it's a balance that you got to be able to have a feel and, gauge with your team, gauge when you're playing. Some of these things are out of our control. We have no control of it. And again, last week, I think it's just as important for us to kind of keep them relaxed mentally. There wasn't a lot of stress on them mentally from a standpoint of no game plans. We didn't want to put it on them any other way. We wanted them to be relaxed mentally and try to, just not basketball wise, it's everything else they go through, from a mental health standpoint. So from that standpoint, I think we got out of what we wanted to. Naturally as a coach, you'd probably just like to keep your rhythm going. I don't know if the rhythm's going means playing back-to-back's ever a good rhythm. I ain't saying that's a good rhythm. But as a coach, you'd like to, have a game a week, whereas 2 or not, have 1, keep some kind of, consistency in what you've been doing without wearing them out physically and mentally. But again, it's just all different. But Gary, that's a great question. And is more of, you've got to adjust how you coach your team based on these pauses and shutdowns and times in between games. You just have to do it.
As a follow-up, in terms of keeping your guys safe, I mean, you all have been able to do that pretty well. What's that challenge been like?
Gary, I mean, I'm sure I can speak as a coach. I'm probably speaking for my players. I mean, it's no fun. Hey, I love going to Montana's Grill, sitting there getting a good steak. I hadn't even drove by the place. I don't want to look at. I mean, basically, we're in as much bubble as we can. Hey, that's why I knew at Middle Tennessee, I hadn't been around nobody. I just knew I hadn't. And again, I don't know if any of us 100% know how you catch it. I just knew I have not been around nobody to catch a virus. Why I have a temperature, I don't know. But I sure didn't believe it could have been the virus based on being around people. Now, if I got it some other how, you walk in the elevator or somebody else come out of it, I don't know that for sure. Probably none of us know that for sure. But back to your question, we talk about it every day. And especially since our students got back on campus. We went through probably 6 weeks when I didn't have to talk about when they went back to the athletic dorm, stay away from people because there's nobody in there but us, basically, during that Christmas break. They come back 3rd week of January. Now you have to be concerned about, don't get in the elevator with nobody. Stay away from the dining areas and basically go to your room. And Hey, you guys know how it is, Gary. Hey, it's no fun for anybody. Hey, back, Gary, when you were 18 to 22, that'd been really hard, probably, wouldn't it? Real hard. Go to your room. Don't get out, Gary. Stay away from her now. Huh? That'd been real difficult, wasn't it? Huh? So that's probably as big as an issue. But for the most part, hey, I don't know how. We've had good, we've kind of, our protocol's been as good as it can be, but you can have great protocol, but if you don't have guys trying to do what's right and do what's best and showing some maturity, it wouldn't have mattered. And I think our guys have done that the best we can do that, and, we've got, every test you take, you can't hold your breath.
Trent Gallagher with WKY in Louisville, along Gary's lines, with only 8 regular season games left pending COVID. How do you manage this, being in first place and all that? What do you tell the guys to somehow navigate these challenged waters but having great success?
Well, Fred, we're going to keep approaching a game at a time, just like we've kind of been doing it. It's totally out of our control who we play. I mean, we don't know. We were all geared up to play Old Dominion last week here at home. That's what we anticipated happening and wanted home games. Remember now, after this week, it's going to be 7 on the road and 3 at home in league play. Where's any kind of balance at with that? And again, only makeups we have right now that we've been told that last week you make up a series. But again, we don't know what series. Where's the imbalance at? This team plays 10 home games and 6 on the road, and this other team plays 10 on the road and 6 at home. And I mean, y'all know the difference in that. And you got to go somewhere and play somebody twice. Once is bad enough, but you got to play them twice. That takes on a whole different challenge none of us have ever dealt with.
Hey, Coach Jared with the Daily News again. Kind of swinging back to FAU. I know you said they can spread the floor, second best field goal percentage and 3-point percentage in the league. You've seen some teams that like to shoot the 3, with different styles. Alabama with that 3 and more of driving style, and Marshall with that, and then the lobs. I guess, does this FAU team remind you of either of those or someone else that you've played that you can learn from?
They're like a lot of teams, 4 out, 1 in. The difference, they're 1 in. There's been some 1 in guys. Their big boys shot 6 threes in conference play, hadn't made any. There's been some teams where you're 4 out, 1 in, your big guy can shoot some, maybe like a Charles. Not we're 4 out, 1 in, when we're small we are, but he has the ability to shoot it. Their big guy hadn't made none. But I don't know if I could just point to any one team. They have a 4 guy that's in Ingram that's really a 3 at 6'7", that can play inside out. They've played 6 games, right? They've been at home 3, Charlotte home 3, on the road 3. But really, different than Louisiana Tech. You want to compare them to anybody, maybe Charlotte, spreading that thing a little bit. But building make shots.
Coach, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but it's been about a year since, we've all learned about COVID and stuff. Just over the past year, how have you handled it, personally in your life and athletically and mentally as well?
Well, Caden, I'm going to tell you, that's a great question. Unfortunately, how I handle it physically and mentally, there's different challenges. I can just tell you this, I lost one of my best friends yesterday. Guy that's 68 years old, no underlying conditions. Back from Meade County. A real personal friend, not somebody I knew, but a real personal friend. And I saw him go into the hospital 3 weeks ago, stay a week and come out, go back in and don't make it back out. You know, my wife told me this morning, she's got here in Bowling Green, you guys, Jarrett and Tyler, are you guys here? I ain't gonna say any names because it may be personal, but I know from her church groups, she lost a personal friend this morning, 66 years old, no underlying conditions. So it is real. It's affected us all differently. I know we look at this death thing across the nation in Kentucky. You know, I've had several people that I've just known that's passed away. But yesterday was the first time it really a real, true, personal friend. It is home to me as close as you can get. So I take it very seriously. You know, we're all, there was a guy, hey, Gary, you'll know this, Fred, you guys, Sekou Smith, man. Y'all know Sekou? So y'all know this about Sekou now. Sekou was my first beat writer at Mississippi State for all those years. And he's a guy, hey, 48 or 49, Gary, what was he?
48.
Hey, that hits home to you, don't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he was a colleague, definitely.
Hey, I mean, there's a guy. So, hey, guys, you know, we're surviving it. It affects people differently. We all try to take the positives out from it. I don't know if any of you all have lost personal friends or family members from it, but it is something we take very serious, for sure.
Any other questions for Coach?
Coach, I guess back to basketball for a second.
Excuse me a second, Gary. Fred, what kind of dog you got there, man? Is that a beagle?
What's that?
Hold on, Gary. Fred just stuck a dog on there. What kind is that, Fred? I can't hear you. Can't hear him. You on mute? Who's on mute? Me or him? Fred, you on mute?
Yeah.
What kind of dog's that?
She's a tree climbing hound. She's got
Hound?
legs, yeah. And
I got you.
every time I'm on a Zoom call, she seems to know.
I got you.
She'll climb up. And she's a ham at heart. It's almost friend of the family or something. But
Gary, sorry about that, Gary.
my wife surprised me for Valentine's Day with her last year.
Hey, that's your best friend. Trust me, I got 2 of them.
Oh, really? Hounds also?
No, mine border collies.
Oh, very nice.
And I can promise you, my wife may not be there of open arms when I come home, but I have 2 border collies every evening. They waiting on me now. It don't matter how bad it is, how good it is. They right there for me. So, hey, that old saying, man's best friend, there's a lot of truth. Who all has dogs? Everybody have dogs? Got them, Gary? So you know that. Jarrett, no dogs? Tyler?
I'm on the road too much.
Darren, you got dogs?
My parents have a golden retriever, Coach.
Well, you know what a dog is, Kate?
Oh, yeah.
I wish, but most dogs are bigger than me, so I just.
Well, I can tell you this. Gary will tell you this, and Fred will tell you this. They're your best friend. You treat them right, they'll be your most loyal friend you'll have. Am I right, guys?
She's been hanging out in my office for 11 months.
Yep. Gary, back to your question, man. What was your question?
Yeah, well, I guess first of all, you know, that rule in show business to never follow kids or animals. I guess here. But I guess in terms of basketball, how have you come to appreciate Charles's talents, you know, things that he brings on both ends of the floor, and particularly after his injury?
Well, I'm just proud that he's been able to recover from that injury, especially after going through the draft and coming back. He could have stayed in the draft and who knows where it would have happened to him. But he wanted to trust us and come back and get better in some areas. And that's why you felt bad when something bad happened to him. But now I feel the other way, how good I feel about all those decisions. And more importantly, how I feel, it's how he feels. And I think he would say the same thing. What a great decision it was, how much better he is. As a player, physically and mentally, everything about him is better. So the thing that I can really, really appreciate and admire and respect about him is this too, Gary. You all see him as players out there, but none of this has changed him. He's humble. He's that same person with some confidence, which you like. Not arrogance, just confidence. But he's that same old humble teammate. He's that same old humble person. But now, with a lot of confidence in what he's accomplishing. He liked that about him. He's a terrific student. You know his background. Again, for him to kind of trust everything we've told him from day one, go somewhere you can be special and impactful. And see all these things right now, come true for him. It's satisfying for everybody.
Yeah. What's different about his game? I mean, where have you kind of seen things, to take that next step?
If you had put my finger on one thing, it's just the energy he's playing with now. That's one thing. What's helped the energy? Well, he's gotten stronger physically. He's gotten just better mentally. What he went through mentally, none of us would ever know that. But I'm sure once he got hurt the year before, even before the virus, there was some humbleness that came across. I mean, he's basically nobody again. He's Charles Bass with a broken wheel. So, and for him to be able to work the way he worked, no one knows how hard he worked, and to get himself back to this point, he deserves all the credit. But the one thing that's changed all that then too is just how hard he's going every possession. He used to be, as a young guy, he'd take off possessions. He'd play 2 or 3 and take off 2 or 3. But now there hadn't been many possessions that I have to look out there, practice or games. I very seldom have to call his name. That's a good thing. Things that jump out to me is lack of effort. That's where you get your name called. But him, I very seldom ever call his name because lack of effort. And I think that's the biggest thing about his whole game that's changed him. It's made him a better rebounder because of effort. Runs the floor better because of effort. Block shots. He's more engaged and uncoils quicker. So all those things are better about him.
All right, everybody good? All right, thank you all. Dan?
Tyler,